The Sterling Tower's grand lobby buzzed with Manhattan's elite, gathered to celebrate my father Robert Sterling's 60th birthday. Crystal champagne flutes clinked as real estate moguls and socialites mingled beneath the soaring ceiling, none of them paying attention to the woman in the simple black dress manning the reception desk. Me. Emily, be a dear and check the guest list again, my sister Katherine called out, her designer dress probably worth more than what they thought was my monthly salary. The Vandercamps said they might come and we simply must be prepared. I nodded, pretending to study the tablet in front of me while actually reviewing the latest acquisition reports from my real estate empire. The Vandercamps wouldn't be coming, they were already my business partners, though my family didn't know that yet. Still working that reception job, sis? My brother James approached, real estate royalty in his bespoke suit. You know, if you just let Dad help you get started in development. I'm doing fine, James, I replied, hiding a smile as my phone discreetly buzzed with news of another successful property closing. The Wellington complex, the very building his company had been trying to acquire for months. My father's birthday celebration was the perfect cover for what was about to happen. Every major player in New York real estate was here, eagerly awaiting the mysterious buyer, who'd been systematically acquiring the city's most prestigious properties. Emily dear, my stepmother Victoria glided over, dripping in diamonds, do try to look more professional. This is an important evening for your father. More important than she knew. The screens around the lobby, currently displaying birthday congratulations, were programmed to switch to a very different presentation in exactly 17 minutes. Is that the same dress you wore to last year's party? Katherine asked with barely concealed disdain. You really should let me take you shopping. I know your salary is limited, but appearance matters in this family. If she only knew about the closet in my real penthouse, filled with couture pieces I never wore because they didn't fit my carefully crafted image. Speaking of appearance, James smirked, how's that studio apartment working out? The one in that unfashionable part of Brooklyn. It's fine, I said mildly, thinking of the building I actually lived in, a luxury tower I'd acquired last year. The same tower where Katherine rented her overpriced penthouse, unaware that her basic sister was actually her landlord. My phone buzzed again, the Forbes article was ready to go live. Right on schedule. You know, Victoria sighed, if you'd just applied yourself like Katherine and James, you could be living properly. Managing a few buildings like they do instead of just answering phones in them. I bit back a laugh. Katherine managed 3 small properties our father had gifted her, while James had nearly bankrupted his portfolio with risky investments. Meanwhile, my company, Sterling Solutions, a name they'd never connected to me, had quietly become the largest real estate holder in Manhattan. Did you hear about the Wellington complex? James boasted to a group of developers. I almost had it, but some mystery buyer swooped in. Probably Chinese investors. They're everywhere these days. The developers nodded sympathetically, not realizing they were standing next to the actual buyer. My reception job had given me perfect cover to learn every detail of Manhattan's real estate world. Who was struggling, who was over-leveraged, which properties were undervalued. Oh, Emily, Katherine called out again, when you're done checking that list, we need more champagne for the VIP section. And do try not to drop anything this time. I checked my watch. 10 minutes until the screens would reveal everything. 10 minutes until Manhattan's real estate elite learned that the quiet woman in the simple black dress owned more prime properties than all of them combined. My phone buzzed one final time, confirmation that the last piece of my plan was in place. I'd just acquired the historic Morgan Building, the crown jewel of Manhattan real estate. The same building my father had spent decades trying to buy. Of course, Katherine, I smiled, stepping away from the reception desk. I'll take care of everything. And I had. They just didn't know how completely yet. The lobby grew more crowded as Manhattan's elite arrived, each group more prestigious than the last. I watched as my family performed their usual social dance. Katherine charming developers, James dropping names, Victoria orchestrating everything with practiced precision. Did you see the latest about that mystery buyer? I overheard one developer saying. Word is they've acquired nearly 30% of prime Manhattan real estate in the last 2 years. Impossible to compete, another replied. They're offering above market value, but with brilliant restructuring plans. Every building they touch turns to gold. If they only knew those brilliant plans had been conceived by the woman they kept sending for coffee. My father made his grand entrance, every inch the real estate tycoon in his tailored suit. "There's my successful children," he boomed, embracing Katherine and James while barely nodding in my direction. "The future of sterling real estate." I checked my watch again. 7 minutes. Robert, a distinguished older man, approached Thomas Wellington himself. "Fantastic party. Though I must say, I'm still puzzled about losing the Wellington complex to this mystery buyer. Your son assured me he had it locked down." James flushed slightly. "There were complications." "Yes," I murmured quietly from my post. "Like failing to notice the building's environmental certifications were expiring, making it vulnerable to a sustainable development initiative." "What was that?" Wellington turned toward me, but Katherine quickly intervened. "Oh, don't mind Emily. She takes night classes in real estate or something. Thinks she understands the business." She laughed airily. "Emily, why don't you check on the catering?" "Actually," Wellington frowned, "that point about environmental certifications." But Victoria was already steering him away, shooting me a warning look. The same look I'd gotten for years whenever I tried to contribute to business discussions. My phone vibrated, another message from my real executive team, confirming that everything was in place. The screens would switch automatically, the Forbes article would go live, and... "Emily," James approached again, lowering his voice. "Some of us are concerned about your persistence in trying to understand real estate. It's embarrassing when you try to talk business with actual developers." I raised an eyebrow. "Like when I suggested you shouldn't leverage the Richardson property at 40% above market value? That deal is perfectly sound," he snapped. "Really?" I glanced at my phone. "Because Richardson just filed for bankruptcy. Anyone holding their paper is about to take a massive loss." James paled slightly. "How did you?" "Emily." Katherine's sharp voice cut through the conversation. "The Ashworths are asking about their seating arrangement. Do try to be useful." I checked the time one final time. 2 minutes. The screens around the lobby flickered imperceptibly as my team took control. The guest list on my tablet updated with one final addition: Emily Sterling, VO Sterling Solutions. "You know," Victoria said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear, "we did try to help Emily get started in the business. But some people just aren't meant for success. At least she's found her level." The screens went dark. My phone buzzed with the Forbes notification. Manhattan's mystery mogul revealed. The hidden empire of Emily Sterling. It was time. "Actually," I said, standing up from the reception desk and picking up my tablet, "I think I've found exactly the right level." The screens blazed to life, displaying the Sterling Solutions logo, my logo, above a portfolio that made the room go suddenly completely silent. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served from behind a reception desk with a smile they never saw coming. The stunned silence that had fallen over the lobby shattered as Katherine found her voice. "This is some kind of joke," she declared, though her perfectly maintained confidence wavered. "You're a receptionist. You answer phones." "Actually," I gestured to the Sterling Tower's soaring atrium, "I own this building. Along with about 30 others in Manhattan. The reception job was just a convenient cover." Victoria stepped forward, her socialite mask cracking. "Impossible. The tower belongs to Sterling Global. We bought it last year." "Yes," I smiled, "I did. Would you like to see the portfolio?" I nodded to my executive assistant James Chin, not to be confused with my brother James, who began distributing elegant leather folders to the assembled guests. The screens around the lobby switched to a carefully prepared presentation, displaying Sterling Solutions' extensive holdings across Manhattan. "Sterling Tower acquired in 2024, I narrated as the images changed. "The Morgan Building on 5th Avenue, purchased last month. The entire Wellington complex in Midtown, which I bought from your company last year, though you thought you were selling to a Chinese investment group." My father's face had lost all color. "The Wellington complex? But that was our flagship property." "Yes, and you sold it for 30% below market value because Katherine convinced you the market was dropping." I turned to my sister. "By the way, those market analysis reports you relied on? My team created them." Katherine stumbled backward, grabbing a chair for support. No, that's not. I would have known. Would you? I pressed a button on my tablet and the screens displayed more properties. Like you knew who bought your condo building last year? Or who acquired the Hamptons estate next to your vacation home? The one Victoria's been trying to get invited to all summer. Victoria's hand flew to her throat. You own the Wellington estate? Along with most of that coastline now. I checked my phone as another message came in. Including as of an hour ago your beach house. The bank was quite happy to accept my offer after they reviewed your latest mortgage application. The lobby had become absolutely silent, Manhattan's elite watching this family drama unfold with barely concealed fascination. Thomas Wellington stepped forward, a new respect in his eyes. The sustainable development initiatives, he said slowly. The community-focused renovations. The innovative financing structures. That was all you. Every project, I confirmed. While my family was building luxury towers no one could afford, I was creating spaces that actually served communities. Mixed-income housing that turned a profit. Green buildings that reduced costs. Developments that improved neighborhoods instead of displacing them. James found his voice, though it shook slightly. But the capital required. The connections. Remember when Dad refused to fund my first project? I asked, bringing up more financial data. A small building in Brooklyn he said was worthless? I renovated it into a mixed-use space that generated enough profit to fund my next 3 acquisitions. After that, investors came to me. The screens showed the transformation, how that worthless building had become the model for my entire empire. Sustainable design, community integration, profitable innovation. Everything my family had dismissed as naive. Your little night classes, Katherine said weakly. The real estate courses. Were advanced studies in urban development and sustainable architecture, I confirmed. Paid for by the profits from my first year of acquisitions. While you were hosting cocktail parties, I was learning how to revolutionize the industry. My phone buzzed continuously now, messages from developers, investors, and media outlets all wanting to discuss Sterling Solutions' emergence. The same people who'd ignored me for years were suddenly desperate for my attention. But why? My father finally asked. Why work as a receptionist when you had all this? Because, I moved to the center of the room, taking control of the presentation. The view from the reception desk showed me everything wrong with how you run properties. How you treat tenants. How you ignore opportunities for real innovation. The screens displayed the true scope of my vision. Not just buildings, but a complete reimagining of what real estate development could be. The next hour transformed my father's birthday celebration into something entirely different. Manhattan's real estate elite, suddenly realizing they were in the presence of the mysterious force that had been reshaping their world, began gravitating toward me instead of Katherine. Miss Sterling, Thomas Wellington approached, his earlier condescension replaced with eager respect. I had no idea you were behind the Innovation District project. Simply brilliant. The same innovation district you rejected when I proposed it 3 years ago? I reminded him gently. When I was just a receptionist, with unrealistic ideas? The screens now displayed the full scope of the innovation district, a network of interconnected properties that combined residential, commercial, and community spaces in ways traditional developers had deemed impossible. But the sustainable energy systems, James protested weakly. The cost alone. Have already paid for themselves, I replied, pulling up the financial reports. Every building in the Sterling Solutions portfolio is now carbon neutral. Our operating costs are 40% below industry standard, which is why our profit margins are double the market average. Victoria stirred, her social instincts kicking in. Perhaps we should discuss this as a family. Family. I turned to her. Like when you banned me from society events for embarrassing you. When you told the Vandercamps I was, unfortunately, unstable, because I suggested affordable housing in luxury buildings. Speaking of the Vandercamps, James Chin announced, Mr. Vandercamp is on line 1. He'd like to discuss expanding the Innovation District concept to their properties. Katherine's jaw dropped. The Vandercamps were Manhattan royalty, the kind of old money her social climbing efforts had never managed to reach. Tell Edward I'll call him back, I replied. We need to finish discussing the Morgan building transformation first. My father's head snapped up. The Morgan building? But that's the property you've been trying to acquire for 20 years? I smiled. I bought it this morning. We're converting it into the city's first fully integrated smart building with mixed-income housing, renewable energy, and community spaces. The screens showed the transformation plans, a revolutionary redesign that would turn the aging landmark into a model of modern urban development. You'll destroy its value, James argued. Luxury buyers won't. Already have a waiting list, I cut him off. Turns out plenty of wealthy people want to live in buildings that actually contribute to the community. Who you? My phone buzzed with another message. The mayor's office requesting a meeting about expanding the innovation district citywide. The transformation was spreading faster than even I had anticipated. The reception desk taught me something valuable, I continued, addressing the room. It showed me how buildings actually work, not from the penthouse view but from ground level. I saw which spaces sat empty, which tenants struggled, which systems failed. The screens displayed more data, detailed analyses of building usage patterns, community needs, and market opportunities that my family had missed in their pursuit of luxury developments. Every time you dismissed a tenant's complaint as trivial, I said, I made note of it. Every time you ignored a maintenance issue because it didn't affect the penthouses, I recorded it. Every time you rejected an innovation because it didn't fit your luxury brand, I implemented it in my own properties. Victoria's social mask cracked completely. Those charity galas you couldn't attend because of work were my own events, I confirmed. The Sterling Solutions Foundation has built more affordable housing in 2 years than Sterling Global managed in 20. Turns out doing good is good business. My father stood slowly, looking suddenly old. Your mother. She always said you saw things differently. She taught me that success isn't measured in square footage or sale prices, I replied. It's measured in lives improved, communities strengthened, futures brightened. The evening crowds had begun filling the streets below, people heading home to the very buildings I owned. But unlike my family's tenants, mine lived in spaces designed to foster community, not just collect rent. Tomorrow, I announced to the room, Sterling Solutions launches its most ambitious project yet. We're transforming every property we own into a model of sustainable urban living. Solar power, green spaces, community centers. Everything you all said was impossible,